Shalom Yeladim. Let's continue talking about the Parsha. When I put on this hat, what do you think of? You think of a fireman. Why? Because a fireman wears a hat this color and has a coat and boots and special clothes to wear to do his job. That's called a uniform. When you see a policeman, how do you know he's a policeman? Because he wears a hat and he has a special suit and he has a badge. You know he's a policeman. How do you know when someone is a chef or a doctor? By the clothing that they wear. Well, in this week's Parsha, Hashem tells us that we also have special clothing to show everybody and to remind us that we are in the army of Hashem. And soldiers always wear uniforms. Whatever army they're in, that's the kind of uniform they wear. Each uniform is a different color, or each uniform has a different kind of hat. Well, the uniform for a Jewish boy is to wear tzitzit. And in this week's Parsha, Moshe teaches the Bnei Yisrael Hashem's uniform for us. What are tzitzit? Tzitzit is a piece of clothing that has 4 corners, 2 in the front and 2 in the back. And in those corners, there are strings. Strings that come through those corners. We make a little hole and put these strings through. How many strings come through each corner? There are 8 strings. And knots that are made on those strings to put them all together. The Torah tells us all the strings except for one can be white, but one of them needs to be the color of techelet. What's techelet? Techelet is a special color of blue. In the time of the Beit HaMikdash, there was a special fish called the chilazon, and that special fish had a dye that came from it that was the color of techelet. Today, we don't have the chilazon, so most of the tzitzit that you will see are completely white. When the Beit HaMikdash comes back to us in Meretz Hashem, we will be able to, again, know which of the fishes is the chilazon and be able to get the dye from that fish in order to make one of the strings of our tzitzit blue. Now you know that the piece of cloth is not really called tzitzit. It is the fringes, those little strings that are attached to the piece of cloth that we wear that are called tzitzit. In Hebrew, the word for tzitz means to look through, to peek through. Those little fringes and those little strings peek through under our clothing. Do you know why? It's because Hashem has a Jewish boy and an Abba or a Saba or a Zaidi wear tzitzit to remind them that they are part of the army of Hashem and that they have mitzvot to do. The techelet, blue, reminds us of the sky. And when we look into the sky, who do we remember? We remember Hashem. Hashem is all over. And Hashem is our captain. And he has given us mitzvot to do. So our uniform, our tzitzit, reminds us that we are from the army of Hashem, that we have a captain, and that we have mitzvot to do. This week's Parsha teaches us about wearing tzitzit and being part of the army of Hashem. Children, do you remember where we see this mitzvah of tzitzit? If you said the Shema, you are right. We have the mitzvah of tzitzit and all those psukim in our Shema, which we say every day. And where do we have those words of Shema that are so very special? We have them in our mezuzah. We have it in our tefillin. And of course, we have it in our Torah and in our Siddur. So let's be so very proud that we are part of the army of Hashem, that we have a special uniform. And if you are a yalda, and if you are a girl, you will know that Hashem has given you the mitzvah of tzniut. You don't need something special to remind you to be part of the army of Hashem. You know and you feel Hashem inside of you all the time. And you remember and you are proud that you are also a soldier in the army of Hashem. So Yiladim, be proud. Show everybody who you are by the uniform that you are wearing. Your kippah and tzitzit, and your tzniut in your dress. And everybody will be amazed by you. Have a wonderful week, Yiladim.